Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald. Joined as always my trusty co-hosts, Tyson and Franklin. Ho, ho, ho. How are things there in Australia?
We are fantastic over here, Big Jim. It's warm for us because it's now officially summer, and which means it is cold for you. So I would rather be where we are.
Yeah, I can't imagine having a summer Christmas, but I guess on the other side of the planet, that's what happens. So
But what's funny is because as soon as it hits the 1st of December, this is just a family. We have so many traditions that we do in our household, and one of them is from the 1st of December all the way through until Christmas. We watch a Christmas movie every night, and God, damn, some bad ones. Which, and there's so many new ones that come out every year, so it's
sure.
surprising we can find stuff. And we watched the recent Jack Black one called Dear Santa,
Okay.
and the kid writes a letter to Santa, but he's dyslexic, but he writes it to Satan. So Jack Black turns up and says, "Oh, we don't normally get too many little letters sent to us requesting wishes." So that was a bit funny,
That's good.
but
That's good.
yeah, but it's funny. Like being here in Australia, we grow up seeing everything with all the snow and all that type of thing. So next year we're going to be in the States for Christmas.
There you go. Have a proper North American Christmas, I guess.
So we'll be fun. So we should get on to today's topic,
Sure.
not just Christmas movie reviews, but
So,
check out Dear Santa. It's worthwhile.
okay, I'll write that one down.
Okay, today's topic is word of mouth is a dangerous marketing strategy. And how this came about is I was talking to a podiatrist recently, and while we were chatting away, they said, "Oh, I don't do any marketing. I do no marketing at all." They said, "I don't need to. My whole business has been built on word of mouth." And which wasn't exactly true, because I said, "You have a website though, don't you?" And they were, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, you do realize that is part of your marketing, even though it's dodgy and it was a really bad website." And I'll get onto websites a bit later, but in their mind, they were just saying all they do is word of mouth marketing. They don't need to do any other marketing. And I think it's a very dangerous strategy.
Yeah, I think if you're putting all your eggs into that basket, I mean, you definitely want to have a great reputation in town. It's not taking that away, but if that's the only thing you're hoping on, just kind of like put your head down, work hard, obviously treating patients and providing great care is the foundation of any successful practice. But at the same time, you have to let other people know about it, and word of mouth can travel pretty slowly, especially when you're first getting started.
Yeah. And the biggest problem with word of mouth marketing is it has built-in limitations because you're relying on your current patients to basically spread the word. And you can't always be sure exactly what they're saying. You're not actually there when they're saying it. And you gotta think about whatever's being said, is the message consistent? Is it the same message that's being said by all your patients? Or have you got different patients saying different things purely based on the experiences that they've had? So are your patients aware of all your services? Because they're not going to talk about some of your services if they're not aware of it. They're only going to talk about what they know, which is another thing that's what sets the limitations if you're only relying on that.
No, absolutely. I think we've talked about this in the past, and then some of the colleagues I've talked with, they want to kind of get away a little bit from some of the routine foot care and do some of the more fee for service or cash pay types of treatments. And, if the elderly person that you treat, it's like maybe you have one half day a week where you do
Yeah.
routine foot care and you treat them well and you're really happy. Maybe just have some person that just like, oh, he's the best at doing, routine foot care. And you really don't want more of that service, right? You have to find some way to, that's a way that like word of mouth can be a little, I wouldn't say detrimental, but definitely not aligned with your current practice goals are. So you do have to sometimes shout it from the rooftops and let people know all about the different types of care you actually want to provide.
Yeah. And it's especially dangerous too if you don't control the narrative, like you were saying. Yeah, the message and the narrative is, what is the message that's being talked about your business? And if you just leave it to your patients, I'll give you a really, one, I think it can be really scary, but you also don't want to be known in town as you're the best toenail cutter. And to give you a story, I used to play rugby union in Cairns, and I remember this one particular game. We'd finished the game. We're all there in the dressing room, covered in blood and guts, and a trainer came in, and the trainer's mum was a patient of mine. And the trainer had turned to me and said, "Oh, Tyson, my mum just wanted to let you know that she reckons out of all the people she's ever been to, you are the best toenail cutter she's ever been to. And I looked, and I went from being 6 foot tall and bulletproof. I just went, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, say hello to your mum for me. Luckily, though, half the guys in my team were also patients, and I'd made orthotics for them before, had done shockwave therapy, had done a lot of other things for them, and a lot of them when they looked at me and they heard that comment, they were actually really confused. They went, "Oh, Tyson, do you cut toenails?" And I went, yeah, some people can't reach them. Someone's got to do it. And they went, oh, okay. Didn't know you did that. Fortunately, like I said, they had been exposed to other areas of my business. So that was what I wanted people talking about. But if they'd never been to my business before, and that sports trainer had come in and said, hey, Tyson, you're the best toenail cutter in Cairns, all of a sudden there would have been 22 guys who would have walked out of that dressing room that day going, Tyson is the best toenail cutter in Cairns.
Yeah.
And that wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want to be the best. I wanted to be third best.
And then they would call their mother or their grandmothers and send them directly to your door.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the scary part. All of a sudden, they all would have gone out and would have got 22 referrals the next day. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, she needs her toenails cut. I hear you're the best in Cairns.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's the other part too is if other people are out there doing the word mouth for you, is can you be sure that the patients are hearing the right message from them? So you may even have a patient who might be saying good things about you, not just, the best toenail cutter, but are the patients explaining what you do properly, or are they explaining it poorly? And it'd be no different to, let's say, shockwave therapy. Now, you could explain, when I first heard shockwave therapy, the first image that popped into my head was Jack Nicholson with chewing on something with them putting electrodes on his head. That was the image. So you can imagine a patient saying something, oh, I went to the podiatrist, got shockwave therapy for my heel. And it was a little bit painful. And all of a sudden they're picturing a towel in the person's mouth and some shocks on their head. So if things are not explained properly, even it could be some of your better services, that can also be a bit of a problem.
No, absolutely. It's kind of like the old game of telephone, right? Like you say a sentence to one person next to you, the next person says another sentence, and by the time it gets 3 or 4 people deep or even more, like the message is completely changed. So you're right. You want to control the narrative. You want to be able to explain to patients, the type of care you provide in ways that you control that narrative and the information given, because otherwise, they might get some bad information along that chain.
Yeah, what did you call that game? Telephone?
Telephone, yeah, you just, like, sit in a circle and you, like, whisper a sentence and
Yeah, we used to call it Chinese whispers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Maybe you're not allowed to anymore. Well, we'll find out if this episode gets an explicit rating on there or we get banned. It's probably a political correctness thing. I have to Google that. Anyway, so some of the other dangers, while you're waiting on your patients to spread the word about how good you are, if there's a savvy podiatrist that's moved into town, someone that's a little bit switched on, they are placing their message in front of your potential patients with better marketing strategies. So you're sitting and waiting for your patients to build up your practice, and they're sitting back going, who do we want to talk to? What message do we want to get out to them? And they're using other marketing strategies. And while you're waiting for your word of mouth to build up, they're moving so far ahead of you.
No, that can be really dangerous, like, when you're just kind of, like I said, putting all the eggs in that basket and not kind of focusing on those other ways where you can really project your message and get it directly to the patients you want to treat.
Yeah, and it's also another danger is, are your patients talking to the right patients? See, you may have provided a fantastic service, say not toenail cutting, could be something else, and you're after more affluent patients or professionals. You might want people who are business owners, whether it's white collar or blue collar, but you're after business people. You want people, families, people who've actually got money or have got, children, double incomes, that type of thing. But are your patients going out there and talking to Doris from the Bridge Club or, a single mum? And not there's anything wrong with single mums, but if that's not your target market. So if your patients are out there doing a fantastic word of mouth job, but they're doing it to the wrong patients, you've got savvier podiatrists who are sending different messages to the right patients, and you're going to miss out on them.
Yeah, it's kind of like we talked about when we're talking building a website, or just any kind of thing on your digital presence. You want to make sure that is connecting with that right person, but you're also kind of repelling the people you don't want to treat. And this is, I think that's a great way of putting it. That you really kind of want to attract that kind of right fit patient to come into your practice.
Well, one of the funny things I saw once was somebody said, yeah, would you let your patients pay your bills or do your taxes? And you go, oh, that's a silly question. Of course I wouldn't. Well, why would you let them control your marketing? Well, if you really think about it, if you say, you know what, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to let my patients do all my marketing for me. And I'm also going to let Doris do my taxes. No, she's not an accountant, has no idea what she's doing, but I'm just going to let her do it. There's no way you would let them do it. So to me, I think when it's the marketing of your business, you really got to take control of it and not leave it in the hands of your patients. And the fourth thing I would mention that's also a danger, and this one's huge, people, and you're going to agree with me on this one too, Jim, people will do their own online research before making an appointment to see you. So it would not matter. It don't care how trustworthy your friends are. They are still going to go and look online about you before they actually make an appointment. And therefore, your website, it has to be professional. Your whole online presence has got to be professional, because if it's not, because it was a trustworthy friend that said to them, oh, you've got heel pain, you need to see a podiatrist, they're going to believe that the friend, that, yeah, you're right, I do need to see a podiatrist. The one you recommended, I'm not so sure about, but I think you're right, I do need to see a podiatrist. Then they'll bypass you and they'll go and see somebody else because they have a more professional online presence.
I mean, I think that's a great point. I think the kind of word of mouth referral is just the starting point, right? It's just like that piece of information because I'm pretty sure that your friend's not giving you the name, the address, the phone number to make an appointment. People are gonna do an online search after they get, Dr. Smith's name, podiatrist. They Google that. They're gonna look it up. They're gonna see where's that clinic located. Oh, it happens that the reviews are right there, right?
Yeah.
It happens there's a link to the website. So it's just natural curiosity as being humans. We're going to go take a look and see, is that a right fit doctor for us? So we want to see them. Will they be able to treat the kind of things that I have? So that initial word of mouth referral is just that it's the keywords that go into Google or into Chat GPT or something. It's not the end all be all. They're not, like you said, they're not going to just take their friend's word for it. And just like, because they don't have all the information they need to make that appointment, to make it happen. So it is something to be aware of, that is the starting point, and it's going to lead down a path of a Google search and then maybe looking at your reviews and then looking at your website as well.
Yeah, well, I know myself when I've been yeah, I'm looking for a particular service and somebody said, oh, have you tried this place? I know when I go to look at that place, at the same time I'm going online to look at them, you are seeing activity from other businesses that provide a similar service. So if what you find there, you're like, oh, okay, I think my friend's right. This is what I need. But I'm not sure. There's something about this website. Oh, it was done in, yeah, 2004. You're thinking it's a little bit old. Then you're just going to go to the next person, like I said, whether it's reviews, fresh, it's inviting, it's giving you the information that you want. And there was a statistic, there was a statistic that I read recently. It said, what was that? I've got it written down. 95% of customers start their purchases online. Therefore, the content you create could mean getting or actually losing them.
Absolutely.
And I would say that is pretty accurate. I rarely will purchase anything unless it's a spontaneous thing. I happen to be at a shop. Nearly everything else before I actually purchase it, I go online and I do a bit of research first. At the moment, I'm looking for something you're not looking for, Jim, a pool filter.
Yeah. No pool in Eugene or in Montreal. So yeah, you let me know how that goes.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a robotic pool filter.
Okay.
So because I saw something advertised on Facebook and I went, okay, they look pretty cool, but I'm not going to just take that one. That one's saying they're awesome. So then I went onto YouTube and I said, are there any videos that are doing comparisons between different pool filters or pool cleaners? So all of a sudden there were 4 different ones. So I looked at all of them. I went, okay, what suppliers do I have in cans now? I know I want to go robotic. I don't want having hooked up. So then there's 3 different places that sell robotic filters. So I'm doing all this research before I then select which shop am I going to go to and purchase the one that I want. All done online. And then the person at one pool shop will go, oh, I don't need to advertise because I have word of mouth happening for me.
Yeah. Right.
So, like, in conclusion, I'm not saying that word of mouth is not good or that you shouldn't use word of mouth as one of your like marketing tactics or part of your overall strategy. Just don't rely on it to bring in all your patients. You got to have multiple channels of attracting new patients. We've spoken about it on 150 so episodes now, that everybody knows that you need to be marketing a lot of different places. But I always say, but just remember, all roads lead to your website and your online content. So just make sure it's professional and it actually strengthens the narrative that you're actually trying to put out there.
No, I think that's a great point. I think it is just a starting off point. Obviously, you want to provide great care. You want to take care of the patients in your local area, but for the word of mouth, that they're going to go somewhere after they get that word of mouth. And the better your reputation can be online by, focusing on getting more reviews, having a professional website that builds trust. Those are things that are, obviously, they kind of line up together to provide a great opportunity for those patients to come into your practice.
Yeah, so that's all I've got on this subject. I've always personally been a good fan. I've been a big fan of word of mouth marketing. I've always
Sure.
loved it, but it's always been a part of what I've done. And I have relied on it to help when I had my podiatry to build it up. But I was doing everything else as well. And also combining word of mouth with a lot of networking is also a good thing. So it's just having these multiple channels. Look at all the 6 pillars of marketing. Use them all. Word of mouth is just one part of it. So that's it for me, Jim. I look forward to talking again next week.
Sounds great, Tyson.
Okay. Look after yourself. Bye.
Bye now.
Oh, itchy nose, I tell you.